Nobody does it, Bennett. Yes, I've gone and said it. Movies and games, some things that are lame. Nobody does it, Bennett. A video game, movie pitch. We'll make a film with a game and itch. Video game, movie pitch. Let's start a show. No, we're not on Twitch. A video game, movie pitch.
Hello, and welcome to Nobody Does It Bennett, a video game movie pitch. I am your host, the Greg Bennett Experience. And tonight, who have I got for the Brotherhood of Assassins? For Assassin's Creed? Wow, my brother, of course.
The other does it Bennett.
There is. The other Nobody Does It Bennett's this way. Ross, how are you tonight?
Good. Glad to be back. It's been a while.
It has been. Are you ready to honour the creed?
Oh, I'm ready to stab and stab and stab.
What we'll do first in a video game movie pitch is cast our characters. We have 5 to cast in this one, which should be a lot of fun. After that, we'll give you our outlines for our movie or TV show. We can include other actors in our pitch if we're not casting them in the cast lineup. So there you go. If you have any names in your pitch that you want, keep them in there as long as they're not cast in our initial casting. They're free for all. I put Terry Crews in Assassin's Creed on your idea.
Hey!
So there you go. I listened. So let's talk about our experiences with Assassin's Creed, Ross, from 2007. The first game in the series, of course. I remember you mentioned this game in the Uncharted movie pitch. So what are your experiences there, Ross?
It was really different watching it back. I couldn't remember anything. It was completely different. It turns out all my memories were of Assassin's Creed 2 with Ezio in Italia. Altair, looking back through it, I mean, it's not hard to see why it was groundbreaking for that time. It's still, if you see the PC remaster, it looks fantastic now. Kind of wish that PlayStation or Xbox would remaster it because it would be pretty cool to play now. The beats of the story, I was like, I don't remember that. Don't remember that. Interesting. This is like seeing it brand new.
It's the same way with me. When I started this, and I remember the name of Altair, of course, because he's mentioned a lot in the second game as well. I played this game when it first came out as well. But everything I remember is from Assassin's Creed 2 because I've played that so many more times. The Altair story is amazing. It's really, really good, and I can't wait to get to that in future video game movie pitches. There's actually a series of short films or short parts that were actually made of the Ezio saga. They released on air, but I haven't seen those yet. Of course, there's a movie of Michael Fassbender, which we might talk about shortly, which, completely ignored the games and said, hey, guess what? We're making a video game. We're not going to base it on that video game. We're just going to take ideas and hope people like it.
We got a name. That's it.
But not the name of the character. We'll just completely change him. Oh, the Animus? We'll just make it like a big Doc Ock tarantula thing. Let's just make him move around rather than just make it Matrix-like. I love how it's more Matrix-like, especially when you get sucked into the first part of the game when you're loading. It's like the white room that Neo has. It's very Matrix-like.
The tutorial where you're just kind of in a misty, bluey area, and then it's like, you must dodge. You must.
And if it did this right, I'm not saying they had to, but they could have made this connected to the Matrix because there is similarities. But they decided, no, let's just ruin it. That's what I'm saying. Let's just ruin it. People out there like the Assassin's Creed movie. Cool. I'm not one of them. Another funny fact, he talks about how Assassin's Creed has been remastered in 4K by some PC gamers. I've actually seen someone master it in PS1 graphics. They've gone through the first Assassin's Creed and they've actually mastered it in PS1, and it's hilarious. It's great. They've just taken away, they've still got the assassin, but they've just made him blocky, so he's got sharp edges.
So he looks like Lara Croft from the original Tomb Raider.
Pretty much. And he's just running around and you don't see anything past like a couple of buildings.
Oh, clunky.
Everything's just one fighter. It's just like, classic.
Well, that was it. Reading through the development of it, they had worked on the Prince of Persia games. and they decided, well, we're going to make this Prince of Persia game, but it's not with the original Prince, it's with Bodyguard, and he's going to be an assassin. And they were like, okay, cool. And with the PS2 graphics at the time, they could only ever have 8 people on screen, and that's like all that they could work with. And then when PS3 and Xbox 360 came along, they were like, we can have 120. This is a lot of scope. And so like now being able to like push your way through the crowd and blend through, and like you've actually got a kind of a living, breathing city with people that run up to you and hit you and beg for money and things like that, then, you know, like that's a huge jump forward in terms of, I don't know, NPCs and just kind of general crowd dynamics.
Remember when this game first came out, just how big it was? Like, before you could actually fast travel anywhere, you had to visit each place, and sometimes the horse riding to get there would take you like half an hour. Mm-hmm. It's incredible how big it was. Yes, we had GTA that came out before this, GTA 3, which is open world, one of the first open world games that is down that level. But for this one, it just seemed so massive, and it seemed like when this game came out, this was going to be just the next massive game. Like, it got like 9.5, I think, out of 10 or something when it first came out.
It was, I think 2 got that high. Creed 1 got, like, it got really well. It got like 8 or 9, but it wasn't like people weren't, some were saying like, it's okay. Others were saying like, it's really, really great, but it's, you know, got some issues.
When I started playing it, I was like, I love the story of this, like, Templars versus assassins. Been fighting for generations. Yes, there's always been movies where, like, werewolves and vampires have been fighting for centuries, and now we wear black leather and speak like this. But
everything is dark.
Everything. Yeah, Assassin, this is kind of fresh. This was new. And it really kind of, like, although nothing's historical in it, it was a smart way to introduce history in another way.
And there were some things that if you'd watched, say, like Indiana Jones, you would know of the Ark of the Covenant, because that's in 3rd?
It's in the first one.
Is it the first one?
First one is Ark of the Covenant. Yeah. The third one is the Cup of Christ.
Oh, yeah. It's all kind of interesting new takes on the biblical kind of stories that we know that, like, you know, it kind of get passed down just through general society. So you're now being like, this is steady footing. I know where I am with this. These are things that people covet and want to get. And
they're always this high magical power. So, like, as well, let's get it because it can change the world. Then why hasn't it changed the world in 500 years? Because there's been people going back in time and stopping it from happening. That's why.
Lizard people?
No, not yet. Maybe that's the next Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed Lizard.
Assassin's Creed Get the Flies.
So, we spoke about the Assassin's Creed movie from, I think, 2015-16 with Michael Fassbender. Have you seen that film, sir?
No, haven't. As soon as I saw the trailers, I was like, nah, this isn't my jam. And then I heard the reviews afterwards, and I was like, I might wait for that to come to DVD. And then it came to DVD, and it never just got into my collection.
I bought it really cheap, like really cheap recently, probably about a year or so ago. Haven't watched it until I did the pitch for this. So I did my pitch for this, and afterwards, like, right, now that I've done my pitch and won't be influenced by it, I'm just going to go back and have a second look, because I saw it at the movies when it first came out. And I was just felt insulted by the fact that they took no story premises from the game. I love the stories. Like, Assassin's Creed, the action was fine. The gameplay was fine, but I always felt the story was the strongest part of it. Yeah. And they kind of took that away and just made their brand new story with it. And so I went back again and watched it this time. Didn't hate it as much because this time I knew what I was going to expect. Expectations were different, but it was a 1 out of 5 movie when I first watched it years ago. Now it's probably more like a 2 out of 5 movie, so it's still not great.
What is the general rundown of that movie?
Michael Fassbender is a murderer that's getting put to death, but then he wakes up in this facility. They tell him that he's got ancestral blood of assassins in him from the Spaniard times. They go back to the Spaniard times where he has the secrets to finding the apple. There's a whole bunch of other people, patients there as well, who are assassins from previous time periods that tell him don't let them find the apple. He finds out his mother was killed by his father, who was an assassin, so he's always hated him, and now they're forcing him pretty much to find the apple by putting him in the Animus and trying to get him to find it. So you're going through certain scenes from Spain from the 1400s and trying to oh sorry, my cat's around my legs, and trying to go away in the mirror. Trying to just he's trying to figure out why they've got him there and trying to figure out unlock the past while they're trying to figure out where the apple is.
And he's trying to escape?
He's kind of trying to escape, but also trying to find the answers. Yeah. He's kind of a bit of both. Like, he knows he can't escape, so he's trying to unlock his past more. Yeah. Which, you know, it sounds like it could be an interesting premise at first, but when you don't take any of the story beats on what has already happened, it just feels like they didn't need to come up with a new story. So why? Yeah. If it's not broken, don't try and fix it. If it had not been Assassin's Creed, but something similar, it'd be, like I say, a 2 out of 5 movie. Because they had the source material there and it decided to ignore it, I think, makes it a 1 out of 5. Like first time, but yeah, I'll give it 2 out of 5. I'll be nice.
That's got to be the studio's influence, that and the producers and suits that would have come in and been like, nope, we have these things, you have to do that. All we need is the name, and then we're going to make bank.
But it hasn't worked in the past, so why do they keep thinking it's going to work?
Because they're insane. They do this every time.
I guess that must be the only explanation, because, every time I see this movie, I just get angry as to why they didn't just use what was already there. And that's what our premise of our show is. Where we use what has been done in the past and we try to change it into something new. There is actually a Netflix Assassin's Creed show coming out as well. I'm not sure what that's based in. But there is. Netflix are working on a Assassin's Creed show. Hopefully it'll be more in line with what the actual games are. If it is, it could be really, really good.
It'd be quite hard because, through the series they've knocked off so many time periods. So many people have been asking for Japan, obviously, and I think that's going to be addressed in the next one that's coming up after Valhalla. You kind of have to either go Dark Ages or you have to go quite specific, possibly in a different country other than Europe or America.
Yeah, possibly, because with what came out last year, that video game...
Ghost of Tsushima?
Ghost of Tsushima. I can't remember the name. I can never remember the name of it, even though I own it. But I have it. It's really good. I don't know if they'll go to Japan because of that reason, because Ghost of Tsushima is so good that if they don't make it as that level...
Well, there's also like Sekiro Die Twice, there's Neo, there's plenty of times when Shinobi has been done.
If you would like to write into the show, who knows, we might read it on air. You can go to Nobody Does It Bennett's Facebook page, or you can hit us up on the Twitter at Nobody DI Bennett. That was Nobody DI Bennett on Twitter. You can also email us at nobodydoesitbennett@outlook.com. That's nobodydoesitbennett@outlook.com. That's Bennett with 2 N's and 2 T's. All right, Ross, before we get into casting, let's say what our pitch is going to be. Is yours going to be a movie or a TV show?
I was split with this one. It could have been a TV show where like each episode was a new target, and then it kind of has the overarching goal of finding out what the nefarious evildoers are. But I think I'll just go for a movie.
Going for a movie?
Yep.
I have picked a TV show for this one. It's going to be 80 episodes long, and it's live action. Yep. I actually toyed with the idea of making this an anime. I thought an Assassin's Creed anime series would be really amazing because they exaggerate a lot of the violence. Yeah. It would really and also how they're always in the shadows. Anime could make that pop. Yeah. But I thought Assassin's Creed live action would draw more of an audience, I think, worldwide. And if this is done well, it might just take the bad taste of the movie out of people's mouths a little bit more. Series
reboots or series like add-ons, generally people see them as different from the originals. Fargo is generally seen as that's become its own thing. I mean the Marvels, they're all kind of adding on, but they're not resting on the laurels of the movies.
That's what I love about MCU, and that's a good reason so why can't video games be close to the source material, because they use a lot of the source material not exactly the way they are in the comics, but use them in other ways. And like I say, the only thing they're concentrating on is making sure this movie is good before they go to the next one. And they let the directors be the directors. If you ever open up Assassin's Creed as a movie series, I don't know, I think they could kind of go MCU, but I don't know, it'd be hard to do. If they had done a couple of Assassin's Creed films with Altair and something, or maybe Ezio, and then they had their own original story, I'd be like, okay, at least they built up to that. But the fact that they just changed it straight away shows they have no respect for the source material. Let's cast our Assassin's Creed movie or TV show.
You want to know why nobody does it, Bennett?
Right, Ross, so let's start with our casting for our TV show or movie. First character we are going to cast is Desmond Miles, the man who gets put in the Animus and has the ancestral blood of an assassin that causes people to kidnap him and put him in prisons to trap his mind and find out where things are. So Desmond Miles, Ross, who have you got for your first option?
My first one comes from a movie not everybody may like, and it's the Aladdin remake, the live action, and it's Aladdin himself, Mena Massoud. People may recognize, he's been in a couple of other things, but he can take on a lead role and he would have some recognition, and he can take on, he can do,
That's fair enough. No, I haven't seen the live action Aladdin. I've seen parts of it at work, but yeah, okay. I know what he looks like, know who he is. That'd be interesting approach for Desmond. I think I can see it in his face as well a lot. Like Desmond, although he's American in the show or in the game, I can see similarities of him being kind of that kind of guy. For my first pick, Ross, for my picks, I've picked people that wouldn't exactly look like they'd be built to be assassins. Just kind of everyday guys that you'd look at them and wouldn't think secondly of them. So my first option for Desmond Miles is, in fact, Dave Franco. I think he'd play a really good kind of like guy that's just out of his element, doesn't know what's going on and confused. He has a really good looking confused face. Yeah. And so he could play that, I don't know what's going on, pretty well. And I think he'd be kind of the character you would feel sympathy for. Dave Franco, you've obviously seen him in like some Bad Neighbours. First saw him in 21 Jump Street. He played in that as well. He's also in the last season of Scrubs, but I won't talk about because I haven't watched that.
What else is he in? He's in that magic one with
Now You See Me.
Now You See Me, yep.
And Now You See Me Too.
Now You See Me Too, which they could have had a better punchline for.
Now You See Me, Now You Don't. It should have called me Now You Don't.
Yeah.
It should have been the sequel.
Well, that's the other pitch. No, I like him. Second pick is somebody that I've talked about before. I just really like him. He's led a film. He's able to show his chops, and he's also not quite built as what you think an assassin is. And he was in The Sound of Metal. Riz Ahmed. He's a scrawny guy, but he can easily play, the frustrated. He can easily play the annoyed at not knowing what's happening around him, and could easily kind of sidestep into that role.
Okay. Yeah, he kind of would. I look at his picture here. I can see him as a Desmond. Down the middle, he's also in Rogue One.
Yep. I didn't realize he was a Nightcrawler.
Solid choice, sir. Right, for my second choice, I've gone for someone I do like as well. He's usually known for his comical chops, but he's been in a show recently. It shows you how he can be serious as well. And I think he would make any role he's in just more enjoyable to watch. I've gone for my second choice is Donald Glover.
Ooh, nice.
I think he'd be a good Desmond because he'd be really vocal about what the heck's going on. Yeah. He would be really just charismatic to the point where you'd feel for him, and he'd win you over. He's just so likable. Yeah. And I can see him. It'd be cool just to see him interacting and realizing he's got more of a purpose. Like through that, if you ever had to do anything physical, I think he could do it. Yeah. So I think he's got every part of Desmond that you could ever possibly want, and he's just fun to watch.
Him in Atlanta is fantastic.
That's what I'm meaning by serious.
Yeah, but then there's also the weird comical undertones, that happen. The weird, the weird guy that's like Michael Jackson in second season. It's creepy as. Yeah, but then also you can obviously do it from Community, where he can make you laugh.
And of course he was in Star Wars as well, but he's in Solo.
Oh yeah, true. Calrissian. Yeah. And then he could also do the soundtrack.
He could. Childish Gambino could do all the Assassin's Creed soundtrack, and I would love it.
Assassin's Creed by Childish.
Let's just book it right now. Your third choice, sir.
Don't have one.
You don't have a third choice?
Like I said, I tried. This one was hard.
Third choice, I went with someone who could actually be an assassin himself if they decided that he, like in the movie, the ancestors' memories and skills became the person's in real life. But for Desmond, if he ever trained to be more, because he was best in the game, Desmond actually escaped his compound with his family, who would train him to be assassins. So maybe he does have some skills that he just doesn't use. So my third choice is someone who's good at being an assassin. I've gone for Sebastian Stan.
Hey, Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier himself. Yeah. I think he would be quite an interesting person to be Desmond.
And he started to show a lot more of his variety in Falcon and Winter Soldier.
His vulnerability especially.
And a little bit of comical. He didn't get too much of a chance to do that in the movies, but...
In Civil War he did, when he wasn't refusing to let the back seat. Like, you're not going to move the back seat, are you? Nope. I think he would be someone that could play the physical role, but also get a really good opportunity to do something new. Yeah. As well as something old, because he's still an assassin.
Nice, I like that.
So out of your choices, sir, do you have anyone that you would pick?
I like the idea of them looking like they shouldn't be able to do... They shouldn't be able to be an assassin, you know, just like a regular guy. So I think I'd probably go for Riz, but I do like the idea of Donald Glover.
He was my choice.
Yeah.
I just think he would elevate it. Like, everyone else would do a good role, but Donald Glover would make it a role that's better than it should be because he's in it.
Because Donald Glover just loves the dong. No.
Yeah. I could just watch, like, because the problem with in the games with the Desmond scenes are the most boring parts. When you're out of the Animus, people are like, I just want to go back in there and start killing people again. With Donald Glover as Desmond, you wouldn't really feel that as much. You'd be more excited to see the sides because he would bring
He could definitely... I mean, like, he's such a personable guy as a character and as a person, like, that, yeah, he could easily take any so-called boring scene and elevate it so that you're like, right on. Ooh, sneaky stuff.
Yeah, exactly. He would just bring elements that no one else could.
Yep, I think Donald should get it.
Donald Glover? Yeah. We have confirmed our casting for Donald Glover as Desmond Miles. Congratulations, Donald. We will let you know shortly that you've been cast.
Look for your confirmation in the mail.
And when he's in this role, when he's acting up because he doesn't want to escape, someone should say, "Don't be so childish." And everyone's like, ha, 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 we get it. And if you ever have his dad in this, they've got to get Danny Glover to play his dad. Just do it for the gigs. Right, so we've cast our Desmond Miles, and the next person to cast is the assassin himself, so Altair bin La Ahad, I think is how you say it.
Well, he mostly gets called Altair within the game, so like to hear the actual pronunciation of his last name is, yeah.
It's hard to find it in the game. So we'll go with Altair. Altair, the assassin Altair. I'll go for my first pick. What I've gone for my ones for this one, for Altair, it was important for me that people had Middle Eastern descendants or had Middle Eastern blood in them to play this role, because in the game he is a Middle Eastern assassin. He's from the Holy Lands, from those time periods before Palestine and Syria and Israel. So representing him correctly is the first step.
Agreed.
So my first option is someone who's actually been on fire probably the last couple of years. He does have Middle Eastern blood in him, and I think he would be really expressive with his eyes. He wouldn't have to say anything. He's been in things like Mr. Robot and Bohemian Rhapsody. My first choice is Rami Malek.
Mr. Mercury himself.
He can get himself into good shape. He could be really interesting as an assassin. His eyes especially. And
you'll be able to recognize who it is under the hood quite easily. Yeah. I'm trying to think of, because I haven't seen much of him outside, because I haven't watched Mr. Robot, but seeing Bohemian Rhapsody, you know, he's putting on an accent. So his natural speaking voice, I'm not too sure what that's like.
He's been in Until Dawn. He had an American accent.
Was he?
Yeah.
Huh.
Have you ever played Until Dawn? He played the brother that played the tricks in him. That's Rami Malek. Yeah, before he was Rami Malek. Yeah. But so he's done other voices before. And
he's experienced with games already.
Yeah. So that's my first choice, sir. Who is your first choice for Altair?
My first choice is, it could be anybody, but I agree that, you know, you have to keep it regionally authentic. You know, there have been so many movies and so many instances of, you know, people not being true to the characters, especially across, ethnically. So my first one is an Egyptian actor. He's been fantastic lately on many things, including Bohemian Rhapsody, including Mr. Robot.
You got him as well.
And it's Rami Malek.
Nice. Oh, well, looks like we've already cast him then, because the rule is if we both got him.
Yeah. That was the first. And I didn't actually realize that until I looked at my notes and I was like, how am I going to be able to play this off?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Should we do second?
Oh, we'll say who else we've got, but Ray Malek, I'm just going to confirm him now. My second choice was someone else from Aladdin. He played Jafar. I went for Marwan Kansari.
Ah.
I thought he could be quite interesting as an assassin as well.
I looked at him and kind of thought of him for one of the other supporting roles. Yeah, but he does have a look of he could do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it'd be a good contrast to his character of Jafar as well. Using his powers for good, not evil. Plus, at the start of it, of Altair, he's not a nice guy at the start. First scene you see him in, he's killing an innocent. Yeah. So that would, you see Marwan Kansari in
He
that.
goes against the creed.
Yeah, so you wouldn't be surprised seeing someone like Marwan Kansari after playing Jafar not following the rules.
Redemption.
Yeah.
Mm.
He's a kind of an Anakin Skywalker at the start.
My second is somebody who's also been in the Star Wars universe. He's been in Ex Machina. I'm not sure of his ancestry, but he looks genuine to the area. And that's Oscar Isaac.
I could see him as in that kind of role too, because physicality would be amazing for him too.
In Ex Machina, he's built.
No, he's coming up in the new. He's going to be in Metal Gear Solid too.
Okay, hold up. What's happening?
There's a Metal Gear Solid movie or TV show. Or movie. I think it's a movie. It's a movie that's been developed, and he's in the lead role as Solid Snake.
All right.
Yeah.
I did not know this.
My third choice was a guy who's been on a few TV shows. Haz Sleeman. He's been in like TV shows like COVID Affairs, Nikita TV show, and Jack Ryan TV show with John Krasinski. I can never say it right.
Jim
from The Office.
Yep.
He was in the same show as Jim from The Office, but not The Office.
Yep. Oh, Lebanon too.
Yeah. When he's not being an assassin, he could be a model.
Yeah. Jesus. Yeah, that guy could definitely be an Altair. I mean, how is he not called Altair anyway?
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah, that's probably who they modeled him after. I like that. Yeah. I haven't seen the Jack Ryan, so I haven't seen that guy too much before. Yeah, I've only got two.
Okay, you got two as well.
Yep. But I mean, we've already cast him.
We have. So we've already got Rami Malek. So confirmed casting of Rami Malek. Welcome to Assassin's Creed TV show or movie.
Well done, Rami.
Right, the next one is the leader of the Order, Al Mulim. I've gone for two people who, if you want to make him Middle Eastern, you stick to that again. But I've got for a third option that he would be Middle Eastern. He would be playing someone who's come from another area. So it wouldn't be whitewashing because he wouldn't be playing a Middle Eastern. So what was your first choice?
This one was hard simply because there are not many actors that I know of that are Middle Eastern, elderly. Yeah, there may be some from Iraq and Syria and Lebanon and that are very famous there. I don't know them. So I've gone for somebody who has played famous historical people from different ethnicities before, and he's been able to do it and win, I think, Academy Awards for it. And it's somebody, he's got a lot of gravitas, he's got a lot of just, he can bring anything to any role, and that's Sir Ben Kingsley.
He's the guy that I wasn't going to cast as a Middle Eastern.
He's the one you weren't going to.
He was the one that I was going to come from another area, so I'm not sure. So I wasn't sure if we could play him as Middle Eastern, but Sir Ben Kingsley is third on my list.
Al Mualim could essentially be an adopted name.
It could be someone from outside. That's what I was playing it. He could be just someone who's come from this world, and therefore he's more likely to take from this world because he respect and understand it. That's why I was going to go for Sabine Kingsley. But yes, he's on my list.
Hey.
You know what that means? It means we've cast.
Well, I don't know. Let's hear your other ones.
All right. Both on lists, usually the rule. My first option was Ali Sam from Argo. He doesn't play too many roles in the Western market. But the one that I probably was going to mostly go with, other than Ali Sam. No, he's been more Middle Eastern films.
Argo, that was the Ben Affleck one?
It was. It's the one with the bombings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He was in that. But also the one that I was going to go with, who's another Middle Eastern actor, if I wasn't going to go with Sabine Kingsley, because he just has a look of someone of the game.
Oh, yeah.
His name is Gassan Massoud.
All right. I could definitely picture him as Al-Mualim.
Yeah, I could see him as like leader of an order.
He looks very, very similar to how he's portrayed in the game.
Yeah, that's why I saw him as like, he would be the guy I went with if I was going someone close to look.
Yeah. How'd you find him?
I looked up Middle Eastern actors, and just to make sure that I went through a big list. Went through everyone because, again, I wanted to have two options that were Middle Eastern and one that wasn't.
I was in the Kingdom of Heaven movie.
He was.
Oh.
Yeah, as well.
I don't think I saw that.
He's in Kingdom of Heaven, and he's also in Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End.
Don't know if I even saw that one.
But yeah, that's how I would have gone with.
Gassan Massoud. Handsome man. Very good description there, Google. Thank you. Sorry, Bing.
But since we've got Sabine Kingsley in both our lists, sir, it's Sabine Kingsley. He's been cast.
I don't think he's been in anything for a while.
Not since he betrayed a Middle Eastern guy who's not Middle Eastern in Iron Man 3.
Whoa, he might be reluctant to return to that kind of area.
That was the one thing I was going against. He was playing an actor.
I'm an actor.
But this time I wouldn't have him playing like for my version, I wouldn't have Middle Eastern, I'd have him like British that's come over.
No, I mean that can work because the Templars, the French are at least there. I think there's the King Richard, and one of the targets is a British ruler, so they are interested in the area.
It makes sense, and he knows the French and the British guys because he's from England. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense to him. Lucy Stillman is the next person I'm going to cast.
Yep.
The first person I cast is in fact the person who is actually in the game. Because I was like, she can still play it. Why change it if she can still play it? I've gone with Kristen Bell.
Good old Kristen Bell.
She is my first option. Yeah.
Did you think of her before checking?
Yes, I knew it was her because I was like, she looks like Veronica Mars years ago when I used to watch it because the graphics on the PS3 was enough that you could actually recognize someone. Yep. Like, she looks like Veronica Mars. I wonder, and I looked it up as soon as Assassin's Creed came out. So I've always seen her as Christian Bale, not Lucy Stillman.
Yeah, no, she's my number one as well. But I didn't know it was her until afterwards. And then I was checking the wiki. I was like, holy crap, that is Kristen Bell. I don't know if I can use that. But yeah. But I mean, she still looks like she could be 20 to 30.
She was 24 when she played a 16-year-old. And you could believe she's 16. Yeah. So she'd be the first option because she played the role. She knows the role.
Yeah, she was the voice actor. And apparently she loved it.
Did she? Okay. Well, that's another positive.
Yeah. Going from the good place to assassinating. Yeah, there we go.
That's the next logical step. We're going to send you back, but you're going to help an assassin out. Yep. My second option was someone I've enjoyed in Iron Fist, which I didn't enjoy Iron Fist show that much, but I enjoyed her. Also, there's a movie on Netflix called Love and Monsters.
I haven't seen that yet.
It's very good. It's one about it's filmed in New Zealand because a couple of New Zealand actors are in it as parents, like Caroline from Shortland Street's in it from years ago. But it's about how we sent nuclear weapons into the sky to get rid of an asteroid that's coming, but the asteroid broke up and all the nuclear material came back onto Earth, so all the insects and bugs and stuff became massive monsters. So we're living underground because we have created these super monsters that have taken over the world. We're like living in little bunkers in different areas of the world. So that's what the movie's about. It's really cool, and she's in that as well. So Jessica Henwick, I'm sure you know what she looks like, but
she was in Game of Thrones as well. Yeah, she's the she becomes the next Iron Fist, doesn't she? Because she's got the dojo.
So you could believe she's an assassin as well, because spoiler alert for the pitch, but Christian Bale's an assassin, part of the Assassin's Guild. See her finger cut off with a secret.
But she's just an administrator. There's no way that people with administration skills can do anything else.
Yeah, spoiler it.
I thought that was a really cool little... They don't address it, I think, until she reveals herself.
Yeah.
But I noticed it during the first time that Altair is being caught and captured by Al-Mualim. And I was like, hey, he's had his finger cut off because that's the thing that they must do to prove loyalty.
It's to prove loyalty, but also it's how they use their hidden blade. It's so the blade comes through that part.
I didn't realize that.
Because that's how because the hidden blade doesn't go through there, it actually goes through the finger. Yeah. So this pops through.
Well, then obviously you cut that off.
The Assassin's Creed movie actually shows you better detail of that than the actual game, which I'm shocked about. Because at the start of it, it cuts off the finger, and then you see him getting a blade, and so he actually put the blade through his finger.
What? They did something better?
They did something better? They did something better. I was shocked. But yeah, so that's why they cut it. It is a loyalty thing, but it's also so you can actually be an assassin because it's the blade finger.
So not the middle finger, the blade finger.
Yeah, no, you need the middle finger. I guess you just don't need that finger for anything. It's not a trigger finger or a bow and arrow finger. It's just a secret hidden blade finger. But yeah, I thought she could play that really well, and she could play the administrator role too really well.
My second choice is somebody who we've seen before, has good acting chops. She's been in quite a few things. Ready Player One. Olivia Cook.
She's the main lead in that.
Yeah.
She is very good. I'll bring it up anyway, just because I loved Ready Player One.
She was also in. She supported Riz Ahmed in Sound of Metal. She was like his punk girlfriend. Yeah, knocked it out of the park with that.
My third choice was someone that I just love seeing in things recently. She's been nailing it in the MCU, so I had to put her in there. Elizabeth Olsen.
Yes.
I thought she could be a really good Lucy Stillman as well. And something a little bit different.
I wonder whether, though, because she's so well known now as...
Wanda.
Yeah, Wanda. What's her...
Scarlet Witch.
Scarlet Witch, yeah. Because she's so well known because of the Marvel movies that, you know, like you kind of need somebody who you can recognize, but you're not going to be like, oh, they've got to be a main character.
Just like we did for Uncharted with the second in charge.
Yeah, you know, like it kind of has... She's almost gotten a bit too big.
Yeah, you'd be expecting more from her. Yeah. And they'd advertise the crap that she's in it. Yeah. So they'd be giving away. Yeah,
like she'd almost need... She would probably be above Donald Glover for, you know...
Main name rights.
Yeah.
Should be equal with Rami Malek.
Yeah, things could get a little testy. I'm sure she's a lovely person. Yeah. But, you know...
it's a fair call. But we've already cast Christian Bale anyway. But that was my third choice. Yeah. So have you got a third choice, sir?
Third choice? Nah.
No third choice?
It had to be Kristen.
It had to be. Like, why recast her when she's still perfect for the role?
Yeah.
Right, for our fifth character and our final character in our casting, Ross, we've got Doctor or Professor. I'm not sure if they ever say it was Doctor or Professor, but Warren Vidic.
I think he's just Doctor.
And Lucy's boss.
And from Abstergo, the guy who's extreme, like he's just got the shortest fuse in the world.
I've gone for my first option. I'll go with. The first person I've gone with is I think he's oldish, but I think he's still got it. And someone who could actually nail this role pretty well. I've gone for Bernard Hill. He was in, obviously, the Captain Titanic. And he was also King Theoden in Lord of the Rings of Rohan.
Oh.
He's also in Scorpion King, but we won't talk about that.
Nobody talks about Scorpion King.
Not even The Rock really talks about Scorpion King anymore. But Bernard Hill.
Oh, yeah.
He could play the role of the angry Vidic pretty well. But he was my first choice. The Captain of Titanic was my first choice.
Yeah, no, I like him. And he with the beard and, you know, longer hair, I think he fits it pretty well. Also, with his reddish face, I don't know whether that's just the photography, that could show his constant frustration with the boobs and everybody around him. This is just all too much.
Yep. He's my first choice.
Nice. All right, Gun. My first choice was somebody who he's starting to get on a bit now. I don't think he's graying, but he's proven to be very versatile. Cracked into the American market with Startup and Fargo. He's been a well-known British actor for years and years and years, and that's Martin Freeman.
Ah, yes. Bilbo Baggins.
Bilbo Baggins. I think now he's shaken off that bumbling British persona. You know, like a little bit younger, but then also he's of that age of where like you can be like, oh, okay, no, he's had some time. He's had some experiments, and you know, it's just the world has got to him.
Yeah, no, I saw him in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is the first thing I saw him in. Obviously, he's pretty good in Sherlock. He's actually been pretty good in Black Panther as well as the other MCU films he's been involved in.
It still seems really weird to hear him with an American accent.
Yeah. And Fargo, yeah, he was very good in that first season. I liked him in that. I hated him so much in that show.
He can be just this despicable person.
Fair enough. My second person oozes despicable like no one else can. Like, you watch him and you'll just hate him from the moment you see him because he's just so patronizing, so arrogant, and so right for the role. My second choice is John Malkovich.
Oh, very good.
Yeah. He would just, you would just hate him. Yeah. And he wouldn't care. Yeah. He would just keep talking.
Being John Malkovich. Yeah. He's fantastic. I've loved everything that he's in. Haven't seen him in anything for a while too.
No, last thing I was trying to think, last time I saw him in would have been...
I think the last thing I saw him in was like
Red too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he was in Space Force.
New Pope, show that's been out recently. But yeah, no, he'd be my second choice because I think he'd just be despicably delightful.
No, anything that he does is just fantastic, and he puts like it could be a B movie, C movie. And he would still, like, even on his worst day, he would be able to, you know, knock anybody out of the park.
So that's my second option, sir. Who have you got for your second option?
My second option is somebody that I think of when I think of Whitebeard. He's got the ability to, you know, get angry, get frustrated, just really boil over. And that's Jeff Bridges.
Oh, yep. He made this thing in a cave with scraps.
Iron Man.
Mm-hmm. That's Iron Man.
He can be extremely chill, or he can be, he can kind of be dark and malevolent. Just watched R.I.P.D. the other day.
I enjoyed that.
It wasn't too bad.
That got a lot of grief when it came out, but it's a really interesting mixture of like Ghostbusters and Men in Black, and he always talks about coyotes. Yeah. Oh damn coyotes!
Oh damn coyotes! I think if he could maybe not have the southern accent, but I think that's I don't think I've ever heard him with where he's tried on a different accent.
No, I'm not sure if he has. Yeah, I can see him kind of play this role, especially if he has the same kind of beard as he did in Iron Man. Yeah. Like Triple H from WWE has taken that look now.
Oh, really?
The bald with the big beard.
Yeah.
It just works. My third choice is someone, again, from the first season of Fargo that I think would be interesting in this role. Billy Bob Thornton.
Ah.
As him as well.
Right on.
Yeah. I think he could be a pretty good Vidic.
I haven't seen him in anything for a long time.
I think since the first season of Fargo. But you wouldn't know. He could play it where you wouldn't know exactly if he's evil or not.
Yep.
If you wanted to go more mysterious, he could be someone who's just looking to help Desmond. So you don't know if you trust him or not.
I think he would be fantastic for that. My third is Kurt Russell.
Ah, yes.
You know, also kind of aging now.
No one can grow a mo like Kurt Russell.
Yep, that's true.
Have you seen Bone Tomahawk?
No.
Look at that moustache.
Oh, yeah.
That is a glorious moustache.
Them varmints getting away.
But no, he's obviously played a hero in so much of his career. To play someone who's not. So, obviously he's played Ego, the planet.
That's what I was thinking of, Guardians too.
But even then, you're thinking he's good for half of it, and then he turns.
And then the turn. Yep. But yeah, like, he could easily drop into that role of knowledgeable, frustrated, and egotistical.
And thinking he's doing the right thing. Good choice. I like him as an American icon as well. Yeah. Right, so out of your choices, do you have anyone you want to nominate? I'm going to go with Billy Bob.
Yeah. I think Martin Freeman would probably be the best out of my choices, just because I think Kurt Russell and Jeff Bridges they're extremely big names. It'd be the kind of role that I don't think the Vidic role is big enough for them.
Could be said about Billy Bob, but I think he was in a part of his life where he just wants a big role.
Yeah, I think it'd be meaty enough for him. Yeah, and if it was Freeman versus Thornton, I would go Thornton.
It'd be interesting, him and Donald Glover up against each other with Christian Bale in the room.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going Billy Bob?
Yeah.
Billy Bob Thornton has been cast. I think this is the first time ever that all my cast members I can think of have actually been nominated as confirmed. I feel, bro, because we agreed on so many of them.
Yeah.
Because we had obviously Donald Glover we picked. We'll go through the list. We'll confirm our casting. So we've got Donald Glover, who is playing Desmond Miles. We've got Rami Malek playing Altair. We've got Sir Ben Kingsley playing the leader of the Order, Al Mualim. Leader of the Order, Al Mualim. I can't say it right. We've got Lucy Stillman's character has been played by Christian Bale. And we have Billy Bob Thornton as confirmed casting for Dr. Warren Vidic. It's a pretty good one. But yeah, everyone I've had in my list are actually on there because we agreed on so many. We agreed on Christian Bale. We agreed on Rami Malek. And we agreed on Sir Ben Kingsley. Yeah. It's funny how we all thought that way.
Yeah. I think last time we only had two.
We had one last time I think we agreed on. It was just the one that was Samara Weaving.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Everyone, we were back and forth the other ones. Yeah. So that was, yeah. I think this one, I know, I want to say we had less of a pool to work with, but I think we're both thinking more the same way.
It led you in a certain type of direction, and there were a few casting choices, I think, that would work.
Mm.
No, but I'm really pleased with that cast.
That'd be a fantastic. I'd watch that.
Yeah.
Let's hope the Netflix show does the same thing. That's a cast I'd watch.
I don't know whether I'd go Netflix though. I'm not liking them at the moment. I reckon their TV series they've got coming out, average.
They're not Disney Plus with Loki at the moment. Oh, Loki's good. Right, do you want to go first with your pitch, or do you want me to go first? I don't worry either way.
My one's going to be quick.
Okay.
Yep. Because my movie that is going to be fantastic, and if directors, if you're out there and you really want to get in on an IP that is just begging for you to direct this, come to me. I've got the script. It's easy. It's quick.
How long do you reckon roughly this movie would go for?
Hour and a half.
Hour and a half? Real quick movie.
I don't think it needs to be much. I think it can be all the expositional stuff can be done pretty quickly, and it doesn't need all the giant talks that Mualim would have with Altair. You're not needing to level up. You don't need to go back and then train and then,
Well, I agree to disagree because my pitch is very much going to be different to yours.
Oh, okay. All right. So we've got brevity versus detail.
Yeah, exactly. Right, sir.
Nobody does it, Bennett. Ah.
Essentially following the same beats. I like the idea of introducing the Templars early by going down to I think it's in Jordan? No, where were they? To get to the Ark?
They were in... I can't remember where exactly they were, actually. They were somewhere.
Yeah. I'm gonna say it's in Petra, Jordan, just because that place is an awesome place.
Was Jordan around in those times?
Petra was.
Okay. Well,
Jordan, the country, potentially. Don't know. So Templars have got the Ark. Altair comes in. He talks with the other two assassins with him. They mention the creed. He interrogates somebody on the way through, kills them. They argue. He goes, you don't know nothing, Jon Snow. And continue on. He, upon meeting the Templars, and they have a little thing of aha, you there. Know you. Then Altair doesn't listen and goes for goes in with a kill for Robert Sacrebleu. Can't remember what his actual last name is.
Yeah.
It's like Saint Bleu. I don't know. Yeah, Robert Sacrebleu, and gets thrown out, and unfortunately the other guys don't make it. Mualim, he comes back. Mualim demotes him and kicks him out and says, "Right, okay, we're gonna take you down." He gets a bit of a stab. He wakes up and he goes, "Ha ha ha, you're locked in." And at this, when the stab happens, that's when we get a flash cut to Desmond, just kind of getting the quick jolt awake, like it's been a nightmare kind of thing. And he's in this weird place. It would be quite cool because the only time that you know of him being a bartender and just this regular guy is him just being like, "But I'm a bartender." And, like that's all that you've got to go on to. It could be quite cool to have him maybe potentially, like it could be after he gets stabbed, it goes to Desmond, he's at work and he's having a night off or something and getting, trashed. And then he maybe head hits the pillow, absolutely drunk as anything. And then poof, he wakes up and he's in the Abstergo area. Medical, clinical, absolutely sterilized.
The laboratory.
The lab. Could be a pretty cool effect there. And then, we meet Lucy, we meet Vidic. They go, "What are you talking about?" "No, just go back to sleep. Listen to what we're doing. You must now sit in this machine." That is not some crazy ass spider. And
It reminds me of Doc Ock's arms.
yeah. It is literally just a sucker that connects to the nervous system. And then dive in, I would think, because there's 9 assassin targets, I think showing the really interesting ones. So you've got Tamir, who's the arms trader. He's one of the first ones with Desmond he gets pulled out, and he's pretty brutal. And I think there it could kind of go through like, okay, Altair has to, he has to learn about the city, he has to go find the Assassins Bureau, he has to pickpocket information, he has to interrogate people, and so it could be like, he has to pickpocket and interrogate somebody to find out about Tamir. As he gets assassinated, that's when we get back to Desmond again, and he goes like, "Okay, so this is happening. Why?" And they go, "No, don't ask why, and just do." They go, "You've got 1 week, got to get it done." And then he's like, "But what?" Okay. Also, all the language being translated by the Animus, you could do that whole thing of like starting in subtitles, and then once he's kind of figured that out, then it just goes like, it kind of does that spinny thing with the font, and then it'll be like, "Okay, you now understand it," so they can all speak in English.
One of Tom Cruise's movies, Valkyrie, at the start of it, Tom Cruise narrated in German, and as the narration kicks in, it starts changing from German to English.
Really?
It could be a way, like it's how it starts. Like Valkyrie was not hugely authentic to what actually happened, but that part I always thought was really good, how it just starts off with pure German and then it transitions into English and the same thing, so therefore you understand that he's now just making that more accessible so you can hear it, but not take it away from the fact that it's a German story.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, and it would also kind of, bring in that whole machine learning kind of thing. Then you've got Talal, who's a slaver. You could bring in William, the king's assistant. He's a local ruler underneath King Richard, which kind of shows the English influence on the area. Kind of also relates back to the Templars, because they kind of were a subterfuge sect underneath the English army. There was one who I really liked, who was Majd Adin. He was a local ruler, but his character's really interesting because he's just kind of a full psychopath. And, he's like, oh, why did you treat these people this way? And he was like, well, I killed because I could. Nobody stopped me. It's fun. It made me feel like a god. And it's this interesting thing of like, if evil is unchecked, then it just becomes a plaything. But there's a guy from the movie Four Lions, the British one about the bumbling terrorists. And there's a guy called Kevin Novak.
He's in Cruella as well.
Oh, is he?
Hmm.
He looks really, really similar. Give him a big beard.
Great big bushy beard.
Great big bushy beard. I think he could play that pretty well. Then the last one would be Robert, Mr. French Pooh, simply because he's the one that makes the link to Al Mualim and kind of brings it back around and goes, oh, you've been played this entire time. Ha 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 ha, fool on you.
I'm dying, but ha ha ha.
And then, that's... So second act probably would have been up until probably, have like a little montage of some other people. And then start of the third act is, Robert telling him that Al Mualim is the thing. And then he's got to get back into the Assassin's Guild. But Al Mualim has turned everybody against him. So he's got to battle his way in, possibly find some friends to help him out. Create some diversions, and then Al Mualim using the piece of Eden, the apple, to do crazy stuff and have a giant final battle. Desmond, I think, would be, interspersed in all of this, kind of bringing in Lucy and the Doctor, also advancing the plot that's happening in current times, and kind of have those kind of flash forwards, flashbacks, entering into the Animus, but then having the battle of Al Mualim, bing bang boom, we win, and then out of the Animus and going, yay, we won, and then they go like, actually no, there's assassins right here to kill you and us, so it's all been for naught. I think then he starts to see visions, and that can be the cliffhangery indie, being like, stay tuned.
Because people will be like, franchise bait.
Assassin's Creed 2. Well, that might have to be like a post-credit.
Yeah, that would be cool, yeah. At the end, see the vision. I can see that. No, it's good. It's gone through similar beats, which my pitch is going to go through. I've gone into more detail. SAU had less detail. I've got more detail. But it's pretty similar, and I like that. I like the fact that Altair does not start off as a good guy. He has to earn himself back, which I think is good. And it's cool how bits and pieces of that whole pitch, you're working your way back to pretty much where you began, only to find out that where you began was wrong, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, it's a kind of a redemption story, but it's a redemption story if you started on really shaky ground and now you're not back to solid ground yet. You've still got a way to go.
No, fair enough. I would watch that, especially with the cast. It could be a good hour and a half movie. So there'd be a lot of action, I guess, imagine as well.
Oh, just you would be blown out of your seat, but not in a Michael Bay way.
No, of course not. Right. I should do my pitch.
Go on, I'm keen to hear.
Nobody does it, Bennett.
So my one is 8 episodes long. There is a couple of episodes that is kind of wash over because I go into great detail in other ones. The TV show starts. Episode 1. Show starts with a man yelling at a podium, yelling and jeering up the crowd to a frenzy. There are guards posted all around the rooftops. As the man is carrying on with his speech, the guards start getting taken out on the rooftops, one by one. Very quietly, to the point that no one in the area seems to be noticing. A hooded figure jumps down from the rooftop. So there'll be like a silhouette when he's talking, you'll just see like a silhouette of a man jumping down, and no one else sees it. The hooded figure dispatches 3 more guards with a hidden blade as he walks through the crowd. The assassin, now right by the stage, jumps high into the air, landing on the man on the stage, stabbing him with a hidden blade. The assassin then runs away, jumps over rooftops, and blends into a crowd of people, making his chasers unable to see him. Once the guards are gone, the screen starts to flash red. It intensifies with a voice coming through the sky. The voice is saying, "Desmond, wake up." There is then the brilliant flash of white light. Then the title appears, Assassin's Creed.
Ooh.
Cut to a man, Desmond Miles, waking up on some sort of table gurney. This table has white lights all the way down its spine. Desmond notices 2 people watching over him. An older gentleman who looks to be some sort of scientist, and a woman who runs the machine known as the Animus. Desmond freaks out, as the last thing he remembers was being at his job at a local bar. So you can have a flashback to that where he's actually at the bar as well. I like that idea from your pitch. I'm stealing it. The two people introduce themselves as Dr. Warren Vidic and Lucy Stillman. Desmond wants to leave, but Vidic says that isn't an option and gives Desmond two options: lie back down on the Animus voluntarily or be put into a medical coma and be forced to. Desmond now knows where he stands. He is a prisoner. Vidic tells Desmond about how the Animus works and why they need him to use it. His ancestors are the key to unlocking secrets from the past. Desmond is put back in the Animus. Then there will be a scene where the computer is resyncing with Desmond. This will be the loading screen from the game where you're walking around in pure nothingness.
Good.
The computer will say, "Hello, Subject 17." Attempting resynchronization. Desmond is loaded back into the system. Desmond is accessing his ancestor, Altair, during the Third Crusade of the Holy Land, modern-day Israel, Palestine, and Syria. Altair is in an underground tomb, and he is seen killing an elderly man. The two assassins with Altair question why he did it. Altair tells them it was necessary. He and the other two assassins must find an artifact for their master, the Al-Mualim. Mualim? I can never say it right.
Mualim.
Mualim. I gotta think Moana. Al-Mualim. His master, Al-Mualim, the leader of the Order of Assassins. Altair and the assassins must take out the Templar forces that are in the tomb. Be about a 5-10 minute action sequence of Altair making his way through the tombs, taking out Templars. So this whole first episode is going to be like a 2-hour event, just to get you going.
Damn.
Because this is why it's still going. This film is probably about an hour in already, just going. Altair faces Robert Disable. That's his name, Robert Disable. Or Sablao.
I like Sacre Bleu.
Yeah. Altair faces Robert Disable. The other two assassins tell Altair to take down Robert together, or Robert. But Altair, being the most skilled of the three, decides to try and take Robert alone. Robert is more skilled and beats down Altair. He then says that he is going to let Altair live so he can run back to his master and tell him how he has failed. Robert stabs the other two assassins. Altair runs. The screen flashes white as a resync happens, flash forwarding to a new memory. So that's going to be a part of the series. It's going to flash forward you like it does in the game. Altair returns to his master, Al-Mualim. See? I got it. Yeah. Al-Mualim, explaining his failure in his mission to get the Templar artifact. Al-Mualim is furious and asks where the other two assassins are. Altair says they're dead, but then one of the assassins arrives in the room, wounded but alive. He says how Altair was arrogant, which led to his failure, and the other assassin's death. The assassin Altair left behind managed to return with the artifact and complete the mission. But Robert Disable followed him back to, is it Mysaif? Mysaif, I think it is.
Yeah, I can't remember how it was pronounced.
Mysaif, I'll say. Robert is at the gates with an army. He demands that Al-Mualim and the assassins surrender. Altair climbs a wall and eagle drops down into a haystack. He sneaks around behind the army at a high tower. He realizes a trap full of logs that takes out a large chunk of the invading forces. Robert is forced to flee. The screen then resets and flashes forward to a new memory. Altair is back in the assassin HQ. He is talking to Al-Mualim. Mualim thanks Altair for his quick thinking, but then two assassins grab Altair. Al-Mualim says how Altair's arrogance has caused the death of some of his brothers, and his disregard against the code must be punished. There are 3 simple tenets in the Assassin's Creed. 1. Stay your blade from the flesh of an innocent, which Altair broke by killing the elderly man. He was innocent and shouldn't have died. Number 2. Hide in plain sight. Let the people come one with you, so that they can mask you around in a crowd. Altair drew attention to himself, attacking Robert in plain sight. And number 3, never compromise the Brotherhood. Altair's selfish act placed the assassins all in danger, right to their home. Altair is labelled a traitor by the assassin's order and is stabbed in the gut with a blade. End of episode 1. That's how you end it.
That's what you get for betraying the Brotherhood.
That's how you get in the first episode. So if you don't ever play the Assassin's Creed games, you're going to think he's dead. And you're going to think that he was evil. But maybe maybe like his ancestor or something is going to come back and fight for him. You're not going to think it's actually going to be Altair. Episode 2.
I'm liking how this is paying out so far.
And it's still sticking to the story as well. Episode 2. Vidic is standing over the Animus, happy with the results so far. Lucy believes they should stop for a while. Vidic wants to push on. Lucy and Vidic leave the room. Desmond gets up and looks around the lab. He spots a vent and notices he can hear Vidic and Lucy talking. They speak of having to get answers fast, as the accident has left Vidic's bosses wanting immediate answers and results ASAP. Desmond quickly runs back into the main part of the lab. Vidic and Lucy return. Vidic says they're done for the day, so Desmond should get some rest. Vidic leaves, but Lucy stays. Lucy asks if he is an assassin like Altair. Desmond says he was supposed to be, but ran away from the farm when he was 16. It was the place where he grew up, a small community in the middle of nowhere, with about 30 people. Desmond's dad spoke of their enemies, but nothing ever happened, as he was never allowed to leave the compound, so he ran away. So I'm saving a lot of this talk to the second episode, so you get the first episode of Bang Bang Bang. This is what you can look forward
Yeah,
to.
you never put back history in the first episode.
You grab them first, then once they've grabbed, this doesn't seem like such much of a info dump, it's just more learning about the story.
Get the intrigue. And I'm glad that you are addressing the farm, because that just kind of gets dismissively, talked about in the game.
It comes back in later games as well.
Oh, okay.
If you have it here, because I think Desmond's father was in the third one. So it comes back about his parents, and it also comes back at the end of this game, but also can be built upon after this one. Desmond wonders how the company Abstergo found him. He didn't use his real name, and all his credit cards were under a false name. Lucy mentions his fingerprints. Desmond goes to sleep, but has some weird visions come to him in his dreams. Some weird symbols that he doesn't recognize. Desmond wakes up the next morning to see Vidic telling him to hurry up. There is a lot of work to get through. Desmond goes back to the Animus. Cut to Altair talking to Al Mualim. Not sure how he's still alive. Mualim says how he stabbed him, then made him sleep the sleep of the dead, before resurrecting him, making him reborn. Al Mualim strips Altair of his rank. He is now back to a novice rank. Al Mualim offers Altair a chance of redemption, a chance to earn back what he has lost. Altair's first mission is to track down a traitor who is helping Robert. Altair asks who it is. Al Mualim says he does not know. That is for Altair to find out. Altair goes to the local markets looking for answers. He walks around for hours, eavesdropping on countless conversations, piecing together little bits of information. It's all been like a montage thing, until he has what he needs. A local weaver was helping Robert give letters to the traitor within the walls of the Assassin's Guild. Altair finds the weaver and pickpockets a letter from him. From the letter, Altair finds out that the man named Massoud is the traitor. Altair follows him to a secluded area where he interrogates him for answers. Altair has no weapons at the moment, so he has to just use his fists.
Yeah, he just beats up on him, eh?
Once he admits to opening the gates, he asks if Altair will kill him. Altair says he'll take him back to Al Mualim. He will decide his fate. Screen flashes white as the memory fast forward. Al Mualim offers him mercy if he repents, but Massoud refuses. So Al Mualim viciously stabs Massoud to death, like stabs him right through the top of the shoulder blade.
Oh.
Real brutal.
Oh.
Al Mualim tells Altair he has done well and gives him a sword. He has earned the right to carry one again.
Level up.
Yeah, level up. Well done. Yeah. Altair says that he has now passed Al Mualim's test. Mualim laughs as Altair has only just begun. Al Mualim has 4 names on a list. 4 names of men who need to die in order to bring peace. And doing so, Altair may be redeemed. So it is 9 names, but I changed it to 4 because 9's too many. Even for a TV show, it just become rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. So 4 will be enough. Altair is given a hidden blade to use in this mission. End of episode 2.
Ooh.
So it's just building again. So the first couple of episodes are... First one's just introducing you to what the show's going to be like. Second episode's kind of an info dump and gives you an idea of where the rest of the show's going. But episode 3 now has a montage of Altair riding on horseback through desert roads before arriving at the city of Amaz. Altair uses a group of white-robed holy men to sneak into the city. Altair meets up with an assassin guild member in his shop. Altair is here for a man named Temir. The shopkeeper tells Altair that Temir is a black market dealer, so he should find him somewhere in the soup district.
Obviously, soup,
Yeah.
black market.
No soup for you.
No soup for you.
Altair investigates the soup district. A montage of Altair's eavesdropping, pickpocketing, and gathering information takes place. Altair then returns to the shopkeeper to tell him of what he has learned. Altair says he will kill Tamir when he's distracted during a walk-by meeting in the district. Tamir will be too distracted with his business meeting to see him coming. Shopkeeper gives Altair the go-ahead. Since Altair is now demoted to novice, he must get permission to eliminate his target. Altair waits in place for the meeting to begin. Tamir shows up with his business associate. The men start to argue before Tamir stabs his business associate to death and throws his bloody body into a nearby fountain. He then tells the crowd around him to leave the body. Let this be an example to anyone who crosses me. Tamir then storms off. Altair follows. In a secluded area, Altair walks up to Tamir and stabs him with his hidden blade. Altair tells him to be at peace. Tamir asks Altair why exactly he was targeted for death when there are so many others doing the same. Must be because Tamir claims to have had a nobler cause. In this scene when they're dying, the assassin scenes when they're actually telling you all this stuff, that's going to be in the show. Goes white and actually gives you a whole lot of talking. That's how the assassin scenes are going to be in the show as well.
I like those chances for them to explain themselves and to kind of justify.
And you see the body talking, like just walking around talking to them as they're dead on the ground or down the ground.
It's very much like a soul leaving. Also, the Tamir cutscene and the introduction of the character that you finally get to see really is quite not surprising but jarring, because it just goes from 0 to 100 and you're like, oh, okay, this is why.
This guy's a hothead.
Yeah.
And he just does it in the middle, and he has so much power, he just does it in the middle of a meeting, broad daylight.
People are just like, okay, yep, we'll let him.
Tamir warns that his brothers won't take too kindly to what Altair has done. I like these death scene monologues from the games. Altair takes a feather from his waist and rubs Tamir's blood on it. Altair then runs away. Desmond is then woken up as it's time for a rest. Vidic again leaves the room. Lucy lets slip that they have had a deadline to meet. They only have 4 days left to get the answers from Desmond. And that's where the episode will end. 4 days for what, though? And that's the cliffhanger for next episode.
You could have like a ad 24.
Previously on Assassin's Creed.
Also, if you add in any of those, the previously you could, but when they now put in next time on, if you add in any of those, I'm immediately canceling my subscription.
Because it tells you what you're doing. Yeah, I hate that. Episode 4. Desmond is haunted by more ancient symbols in his dreams. Altair reports back to Al-Mualim, talks to him about Tamir. Al-Mualim tells Altair to focus on his next mission. Al-Mualim also gives Altair a rank promotion and another weapon, a short blade. Altair travels to the city of Acre. Altair visits a member of the Assassin's Guild, different one to last time because now he's in a different city. His mission is to assassinate Garnier de Nablus, a French nobleman who considers himself a doctor, experiments and tortures citizens of Acre, claiming he is helping them. Altair visits the streets of Acre, listening to conversations and searching for clues. He notices that there is a man who comes up to the streets every few hours talking about the wisdom of Garnier, of how he can heal people of their ailments. After the man finishes his speech, he walks off. Altair uses the rooftops to follow him. When the man walks into an empty, deserted area, Altair jumps down and interrogates the man. He figures out what exactly he knows about Garnier. The man tells Altair exactly what he does to his so-called patients. The horrors mentioned can turn even the strongest stomachs. The man recommends getting Garnier when he attends his patients. That's when he seems to forget the world around him. So he goes out of a hospital and visits his patients in the local area, and that's when he should attack him. The man asks if he can go now. Altair is very suspicious of the man, as he gave up a lot of information to him.
Easily.
Yeah. Altair says he'll let him go, but then Altair stabs the man with his hidden blade. He lets him go to the other side. As Altair leaves, he is spotted by an Acre guard. Altair is forced to fight and runs from several guards. Altair uses a combination of a sword and short blade, but never killing any of the guards. Altair then runs onto some rooftops and finds a secret place to hide. After several hours, Altair comes out and returns to his mission.
So you would have the little hidey huts.
Yeah, he would be in one of the tidy huts. And then when he gets spotted, it would have that sound, the infidel, that'll cost you your life. Yeah, sort of thing. But yeah, have him hiding, like show his discipline as well, that he can hide in somewhere for several hours to make sure that they don't see him. Just be like a transition of like the sun going down. You wouldn't actually have like several hours later.
I waited there for 5 hours.
4 hours later, Altair returns to his assassin guild member. Altair will strike Garnier de Nublus when he leaves the hospital and does his rounds to his so-called patients. Altair sneaks into an area by the hospital. He then sees a man coming running towards him, yelling for help. The man is grabbed by some guards and is dragged to some doors. When the doors open up, Garnier appears. The man says how Garnier is no doctor. Garnier tells the guards to take the man back to his cell. The man says he'll just escape again, and Garnier smiles and says, "No, you won't. Break his legs." The guards break both of the man's legs and drag him away, screaming.
Brutal.
Altair finds a group of holy men to help him hide. They walk around while Garnier does his rounds. When Garnier is distracted and alone with a patient, Altair stabs him with his hidden blade. This leads to another death scene conversation like in the game. Garnier worries what will happen to his patients. Most of these people had no homes. Garnier claims he was helping them right until the end. Altair rubs his feather in Garnier's blood. Altair runs and watches from above as Garnier's body is spotted by guards. Resync fast forward to Altair at Mysath with Al-Mualim. Altair informs him of Garnier's death and questions if Garnier's methods, if not cruel, were actually effective to some particularly grateful former patients. Al-Mualim convinces Altair that Garnier just did it for the power and the thrill. But he's already starting to question why these people are dying, and they say they have a higher method, but they can't understand why. End of episode 4. So this is where I skip episode 5 and 6 pretty much because they were split. Episode 5 and 6 will be 2 more episodes of Altair eliminating 2 more targets. Both, again, seeming violent and evil, but also questioning if their intentions were not true. Desmond will start to decipher the symbols he has in his dreams while also finding out more about Abstergo through Lucy, and will start to form more and more of a friendship with her.
As long as it's not through emails. Because there's no way I want to like watch a series and just be like, this dude's checking somebody else's emails. What the?
I'll just give all that. Of course I'd have that. It's one episode of just dialogue on the screen.
I mean, it is kind of interesting, like it's world building, but it's not necessary.
No. Episode 7. So I've gone through 5 and 6 straight to 7. Altair will start connecting the dots between the targets. Each of the targets that Altair took out were members of a secret council that guarded a great treasure. Altair realizes that by killing them, he may have left it unguarded for Roberto to take for himself. Altair returns to Al-Mualim and tells him of his findings. Mualim gives Altair some information to where Roberto might be. Altair investigates. Altair finds Roberto, but not alone. This starts a big action sequence where Altair takes out several men before he has to face Roberto once again. Altair is reminded how easily he was dispatched by Robert at the start of episode 1. Altair is thrown around once again, but as he looks to be beaten, he reminds himself that an assassin uses all their tools, not just one. As Robert goes to finish Altair, Altair runs into the darkness. Robert follows, calling him a coward. Altair hits Robert with quick attacks from the darkness, quick strikes that Robert cannot see. But this time, Altair has lost all his weapons, apart from his hidden blade. Robert calls Altair a coward again. Altair jumps out to hit him, but this time Robert catches his fist. As Altair looks helpless, he kicks out Robert's kneecap, which forces Robert forward. As Robert falls forward, Altair strikes him in the chest with his hidden blade. Altair says the line, "I'm not a coward. I'm an assassin." As Robert is dying, he asks if Altair knew the connection between the men he killed. When Altair nods in agreement, Robert says, "You thought there were 4, but there were in fact 5. Altair distrusts this, but asks Robert who the 5th council person was, and Robert says it's his own master, Al-Mualim. Altair refuses to believe this, but Robert says, think about it. He knew so much about the treasure, stuff only an insider would know. Only a Templar would know. He played you like a puppet as he played me. Ever wondered why I spared your life? I hoped you would see the truth and may have joined with me against him. It's too late now. Then Roberto dies. The head of the assassins was a Templar all along.
Dun, dun, dun.
Desmond is brought out of the Animus as Vidic says for Desmond to listen. Gunshots can be heard outside the laboratory. Seems like the assassins have entered the Abstergo facilities. Vidic claims that Desmond contacted them, and Desmond argues back, "What did I do? Contact them with my mind?" The threat gets neutralized, as there are only about 5 or 6 assassins. Desmond says more will come. Vidic says that won't be happening, as there are no more assassins left. Abstergo has been very busy this past year, rounding up all the scattered assassin camps. When Vidic leaves the room, Lucy says that the camp that Desmond's parents were was deserted when they got there. She cannot promise, but she thinks Desmond's parents might still be alive. Desmond starts to lose it. Lucy tells Desmond to have a little faith, then tells him to rest up, as he's going to need it. As she says have a little faith, she's going to show him the finger, the missing finger, and that's how it's going to end.
Intrigue.
Yeah. End of episode 7. Episode 8, the finale. Desmond has more symbols come to him in his dreams. They seem to be making more and more sense. Altair returns to Masyaf and to the Order headquarters, where Altair confronts Mualim. I'm not going to have them, like, the whole city kind of going against him, because he's still questioning. So that's why he goes to the temple like normal. But this is where he's going to confront Al-Mualim. And Al-Mualim has already gotten the treasure, since he was the only one left who has access to it. The Apple of Eden. A device Al-Mualim can use to control men to do his bidding. He also uses it to hold Altair in place, freezing him in the process. Al-Mualim then surrounds Altair with men and orders the men to kill him, as Altair is standing there helpless, about to die. He closes his eyes and lets a warm inner peace run through him. Some sort of divine warmth runs through him. As he does this, he breaks free from Al-Mualim's control and draws his sword. He starts to fight the men who are under Mualim's control. Altair uses non-lethal techniques against the men, knocking them all out. Altair has learned not to kill the innocent. Al-Mualim gains control over Altair again and approaches him with a sword. Using the power of the Apple of Eden, Mualim multiplies into about 10 versions of himself. Altair fights them all, stabbing and shredding them one by one. When he has defeated the multiple versions, Altair realizes that they were in his mind. Al-Mualim is still in front of him with the apple and a sword. Altair asks why he didn't just control his mind like the others. Mualim said he tried, but for some reason Altair was not like the other assassins. Mualim goes to strike Altair with his sword, but Altair breaks free once again and blocks his attack with his hidden blade, breaking his hidden blade, like breaking it in half, and kicks the apple out of Mualim's hand. Altair then pulls out a sword, and Mualim and Altair have an epic sword fighting showdown. Altair eventually stabs Mualim with his now half-broken hidden blade. This actually represents the fact that he's killing him. The order is now broken, and so is his hidden blade. But with this broken order or broken hidden blade, he stabs Mualim with it.
It will be your undoing.
It will be. There is one final assassination death scene. Altair picks up the apple, which projects a map of the globe. Cut to Desmond waking up out of the Animus. They've got it. Abstergo has the map. Vidic tells some people through the glass of the lab, the group of men order Vidic to kill Desmond, as they have no more need of him since they now have the map and know where the assassins are. All of them. Lucy argues against killing Desmond in case there are some surprises waiting at the last assassination sites. The group agree to let Desmond live, for now. Vidic is furious that Lucy undermines his authority. The symbols that Desmond have been seen in his dreams are now visible around the room. Seems like the apple unlocked his mind. End of pitch. And Assassin's Creed. Season 1.
All right.
That is my pitch. Not as detailed as I could have if I went for episode 5 and 6. But I wanted to, with the episodes, because I was going TV shows, I broke it down episode for episode as I was going. So then I knew exactly what would start. The first episode would be like a 2-hour event. That's why it's so much longer than the others.
Yeah, I didn't think to kind of tease it out as one episode each. But I can definitely see how it would work.
Like you could almost name every episode with an assassination the name of the target. When you go back to, you know exactly what episode it is, and it's about them more. It's about the assassin. You learn more about them. You learn more about the world.
Yeah, rockin'.
Yeah, so that's my pitch there. I think both pictures were pretty good and different from each other, even though it's the same story. And that's what we're going with.
Yeah.
And I think that both of these, personally, I think both of these would absolutely smash the stupid movie that came out.
I'm gonna have to watch it now.
Because you look at this, because it's funny, people are like, "Oh, no one wants to play the game because everyone knows what the game is." I completely forgotten, pretty much, apart from the end where Al Mualim betrays you. I forgot all of Altair's kind of progress. I forgot he got demoted. I forgot he killed an innocent. I forget he gets stabbed at the start. I forgot so much that if you say that and you play the game once, this game was what now, 14 years ago. A movie you could, or TV show you could watch again, you would be surprised by how much you didn't remember. So you can go back and watch it. So it'd be almost like watching it new again. And if I watched this show, it would encourage me to go back and play Assassin's Creed 1.
That was their whole point.
Yeah.
When they made the movie, was like, this movie's here to make you play the games. But they ruined that because nobody wanted to play the games. I've seen Fassbender's one.
No, because it wasn't what Assassin's Creed was supposed to be. Yes, they had the Templars and they had the Assassins fight, but you never really knew who was actually right and who was wrong. They never told you. They just told you that Fassbender's the good guy because he's a good guy, so you should support the Assassins, but they never really give you any understanding as to why.
I've heard it's very vague.
If you like it, you like it, but yeah, this is our pictures anyway. So I'd watch both.
I think it would work really well as a series. Potentially on Netflix, seeing as it already has The Witcher. And so you've already got like that video game tie-in series. People would be grabbed by that.
Yeah, and what I like about it is every season could almost be a different assassin.
Well, next, who's it going to be?
So season 1, it could be Altair. Season 2 would be Ezio. Ezio from Assassin's Creed 2. You could potentially have Ezio for 3 or 4 seasons because there's so much history in his one.
Yeah, see, like 2 played. Revelations, no. Black Flag, heard it was great.
I enjoy the ships in that too.
Rogue, didn't even hear about it. Liberation, what? 3 was like, no, not really. Bloodlines, that was a portable, wasn't it? Yeah, PSP. Yep.
That's how I'd base it. Is Assassin's Creed would work pretty well as a TV show because every season could be a new assassin. Same with the movie though. Every movie could be a new assassin if you wanted to. But I think it's too much lore personally for me to fit into a movie. And like you say, you could just ignore the lore, or you could just kind of focus on the action or focus on the characters, and it might work. But I think with a TV show, if you grab them first and then explain the lore, and maybe the second or third episode, you can kind of get best of both worlds that way. And I think if you've got the right cast, like we have, I don't think listening to info dump is actually a bad thing. I think it'd be quite interesting how they pulled off. You
can build a lot of intrigue. You can build a lot of, like, especially for, it's not medieval time. It's like for that time in the Middle East, Jerusalem was a huge city. It was a center of that entire region. So like, there's so much detail and there's so much historical fact that can go along with it. That would also be really cool to include.
And I think it's an important thing to include, especially this day and age. If you like to write into the show, who knows, we might read it on air. You can go to Nobody Does It Bennett's Facebook page, or you can hit us up on the Twitter at Nobody DI Bennett. You can also email us. I always say email, see? You can also email us at nobodydoesitbennett@outlook.com. That's Bennett with 2 N's and 2 T's. Thank you, Ross, for joining me for this episode of a video game movie pitch. It has been a lot of fun and a lot of interesting talks, really.
I've loved it, man. I love that we get to flesh this out, bring in original ideas. You know, you've got your way that you want to do it. I've got the way that I want to do it. You know, the listeners might have a completely different way that they would love to do it. Yeah, it's just a great way to have that movie video game link.
Well, that's it. No one wants to watch a movie of a game that they've already played. That's a question we could ask if anyone wants to email us or talk to us on the Facebook page. Would you prefer an original Assassin's Creed story, or would you prefer a story that's already been told in a video game being brought back into actually a movie or TV format? What would you prefer?
How would you change it if you needed to change it?
This is what this all is about.
It's a discussion.
Yes, I like that. I like talking about games like this too. It gives you more thought into going back and playing it again too.
I was really disappointed that there wasn't a remaster.
No, there's a remaster of 2. They brought out the Ezio collection.
There's the Ezio collection, and I was so close because I was like, oh, that's it, and I was just about to like buy it, and then I was like, hold up, it doesn't actually include the first.
I recommend buying it though if you haven't got it, because that Ezio, like, you get to meet Leonardo da Vinci.
Yeah, Ezio Auditore da Firenze.
It's a me, your Uncle Mario.
Yeah. What's interesting though is with Assassin's Creed 2, I went to some of the real life places that they have: Firenze, Florence, Venice, and as I was walking around those places, I was looking up and I was noticing, and there were details there that I was like, huh, I remember that from the video game.
Really?
And they were true to life. Like, I could have almost been like, oh, I know where I'm going, because I played the game so much.
It's cool that they've got so much stuff from there that you can go back even today and see that. And that's why history is so important. Seeing those sort of things, that brings you back to Assassin's Creed. And it kind of brings you back to a time that you wouldn't otherwise really think about.
And it gives you a knowledge that you wouldn't know about unless you were, say, a scholar or really particularly interested in that period.
Right, so thank you, Ross, for joining me for Assassin's Creed. This has been fun. It's also been interesting. Not historically accurate, but...
Nah. we gotta make it fun somehow.
And also, thank you for listening. Remember, some others may do it better, but nobody does it better.
See you later. Till next time. Safety and peace upon you.
It's the end of the show, and now it's time to go. Don't be sad, just be glad that nobody does it better.